Board members, thank you, Chairman Pringle, for you got my last name right. And I'd like to invite you to Hanford for a barbecue. We've yet to have a board meeting in Hanford. Wouldn't that be great? Well, we have some good tri-tip down in our area. I'd like to start off by first emphasizing that at the May 5th meeting, I was very displeased with the interaction between Ms. Peck and yourself, Mr. Pringle, and you challenged us to come with some issues. So I come before you to explain that your staff and consultants have yet to contact each one of the landowners and meet with them to discuss issues individually. You know, a project of this scope, you want to investigate the grounds. You want to investigate things that might be in the way. You want to know things before you make decisions. However, unfortunately, in our situation, you have failed to contact the people, know the land, to make informed decisions. Personally, I want to follow also that many of your staff have actually lied. Personally, I've been lied to by Mr. Tom Tracy, which I feel very offensive when I contacted him in November to find out if this was on my property and was informed emphatically that it was not. And then to come to find out that it was going through my property, and he knew this in August, he withheld information from me, which violates the professional engineering code, and I'm very insulted. And more recently, to be lied to by Jeff Abercrombie, I asked him what was going to be discussed at the May 5th meeting, and he indicated that the elevated versus at-grade track was the main discussion point, and that's all that was going to be discussed. So our group did not come up to talk to you because we felt we were not on the agenda. Come to find out, you approved our alignment. I want to forewarn you, though, that the alignment that you've chosen through Kings County violates just about every one of your selection criteria that's established in your own documents. So you're not following your rules when you engage Kings County. Furthermore, I wanted to discuss some things that you, at the last board meeting, the interaction obviously we felt was very inappropriate. We requested an apology letter be sent to Ms. Peck and also the Kings County residents. We feel very offended. The Corcoran to Borden section is integral, as you indicate, because it's the first stretch you guys are going to approach. Yet we are the last discussion item on your agenda, and half of the board had to leave for legislative issues. Knowing that we are the most important, should we not have been number one and the full board hear issues, albeit we weren't informed to be there? And lastly, you know, obviously the lack of transparency is just unbelievable between your staff and the landowners, and I firmly believe there's no transparency between the staff and you as a board. The information is not coming to you. You were told that there's just a little group of homes that has an issue, and that it's a cost to the greater good. There are much bigger issues than just our small community, and I'm not sure you guys are getting that information. So I've brought the information that I personally have conveyed to make sure that it got delivered. I know I personally sent some information, and I'm going to wrap up really quick.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fukuda.
Can I just finish really quick? I have a couple of recommendations just really quick. I personally, I said the apology letter. I also like to please request that you remove Tom Tracy and Jeff Abercrombie from our section. Please replace them with somebody that is committed to working with the landowners, being transparent, knowing the information, and working with us to select a good alternative alignment.
Thank you, Mr. Fukuda.
Can I hand these to you, or should you
sure,
staff to
Lisa can take that. Thank you very much. Now, I did get the stack of cards that were provided for the speakers. Yours was the first on the stack, therefore I assume it was the first for. It wasn't me that reshuffled them. It was for a purpose. And I did let you go beyond your 2 minutes, but I just want to make sure everybody else knows we're going to stick to the 2 minutes on presentation from here on further. So, I understand. So, with that, I want to make sure we give everybody their 2 minutes as opposed to a shorter period of time. Mr. McCutcheon, and then Louis Oliveira. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the board. My name is Barry McCutcheon. I'm president of Kings County Water District. On April the 19th, our manager, Don Mills, at the Board of Supervisors meeting addressed a number of issues with you folks. At that, excuse me, at that time, your representatives said, well, they will address our issues and get back to us. We have heard nothing. We would definitely like to have our concerns addressed. We have 9 canals that run across the Kings County Water District that would be adversely impacted. And we have liability concerns that we're interested in. We also would like to know how one-time mitigation costs would be calculated on additional yearly costs incurred to us that we're going to incur forever. So we would like you folks to get back to us, and when you do, we'd also like to know what the business plan is that the high-speed rail has that's going to prove that it's going to be a profitable adventure without federal or state subsidies. It's going to tear up some good farmland, and in our case, we deliver water to many farmers in the Kings County area. And in our opinion, as the individual from the mayor of, I believe, Merced pointed out, the population is going to double here in a relatively short period of time. Water is also a very critical issue, and it doesn't need to be dissected. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Oliveira, and then Millard Downing. Yes, sir.
You did very good on that last name. Not too many people do. I'm here on behalf of Mel Farms and Cali Farms, and our current position is that we're having a difficult time. The interaction between your staff and Kings County is totally out of control, and your May 5th meeting was an exact example of that. Your staff reports that that they've mitigated all Kings County problems, when in fact they had mitigated very few of them, if any. And then on your behalf, you completely disgrace or discredit the Farm Bureau's Diane Peck when she was representing our view. And I think that was highly inappropriate. I do have a couple questions. I'd like to, for the board to explain why that is okay to do that. I'd also like to know why your staff is telling you information that they haven't even completed, and then asking for approval to go through our farm ground with information that they didn't even access. And finally, I'd like to know what the damages that is going to be caused by the current plan versus damages that if you'd gone through Interstate 5 or Highway 99, whether they would be greater or less. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Downing, and then E.J. DeJong.
My name is Millard Downing. My address is 9944 Ponderosa Road, Hanford, California. One of the communities that you're taking out. In fact, my property is supposed to have rails on it. This is a home that I built as my retirement home, and I am now on Social Security, and my life is basically being destroyed by the rail. I'm not against the rail. I'm just against the way that it's coming. It originally was designed, as I understand, when it was voted on, for to go down the main corridors, which would be I-5 or 99, which is not doing that. I would like to see if you can provide for me a copy of the EIRS and the EIS for both I-5 and 99, so that I can compare them to see why exactly you think that the particular corridor through Hanford is the best one. Also, will you coordinate with Kings County Board of Supervisors?
Thank you very much. Mr. DeJong, and then Anna Montero.
Good morning.
Hello.
My name is E.J. DeYoung from Kings County. I'm a dairyman, a farmer, taxpayer, and a voter. My property and my operation is being significantly and adversely affected with this proposed route of the high-speed rail. I'm here this morning to tell you, the board, that your staff lied to you on May 5 when they told you that Kings County's concerns and agriculture's concerns had been addressed. Kings County's concerns have not been addressed, and my concerns have not been addressed. It is with this misrepresentation that you gave your permission to proceed to seize the personal property along this route. The proposed route is cutting off access from my dairy to the west side of the farm, thereby crippling my operation. Farming and hauling costs will be significantly increased, thereby decreasing profitability. Acres of land are being stripped from me, acres of land that I use to satisfy my state-mandated nutrient management plan. In other words, land that I use to grow crops on, to take up the excess effluent and manure that the dairy produces, is no longer in my possession or control. How are you going to mitigate this problem? And how are you going to mitigate this problem for me and all the other dairymen that are affected? I also have one other question. Why was the I-5 corridor not pursued any further? And where is the EIR that shows you have pursued I-5 and the 99 routes?
Thank you very much. I would like to get just a brief review as to what took place at the May 5th meeting, so the board members and the members of the audience that may have been in attendance or who may not have been know exactly what this board did at the May 5th meeting. I know we are in an alternatives analysis process, so there was no final decision, as the last speaker may have not clearly represented. There was no decision to take property at the last meeting. The environmental process in the state requires us to look at various alternatives, come up with a draft EIR, hear public comment on that draft EIR, and then take a final vote of this board of the final EIR. We are in the alternatives analysis phase, not in the submittal of a draft EIR or of approval of this board of a final EIR. Therefore, no final decision of this board had been made at the May 5th meeting, if that is what was represented to you. And I kind of heard that in your presentation. I just want to make sure we get that clarified, and maybe Mr. Van Ark, in a moment, you can share completely what took place, or maybe now.
I believe your interpretation is 100% correct, Mr. Chairman. As you correctly said, no determination has been made as to this being a final. This determination has also not been made that these properties will be taken. So we are not at that stage yet of the process.
And in this Hanford area, are there multiple route alignments being discussed, or is there a single route alignment being focused on?
You will recall that about nearly a year ago, there was an attempt to try and see if there was a route possible through Hanford.
Yes.
And at the time, it was proven to be impossible to get through Hanford. So this particular route has been known and available to the board and to the public for a long period of time, and some enhancements of the route have been taking place, in other words, optimization, together with discussion with public and with stakeholders.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Montero, and then Mr. Mike Montero. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm Anna Montero. I'm a property owner in Kings County, where we have a large dairy facility and farmland. Currently, your high-speed rail is planning to go directly through our dairy facility. My concern is no one from high-speed rail has visited, inspected our property, or contacted us of their intentions. Have other options been studied which would keep the high-speed rail along transportation routes, such as Highway 99 or Interstate 5 as originally planned? This high-speed rail would greatly damage our business, which we have built and worked so hard for. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Montero, following him, Mr. Matos. Yes, sir.
Hello. My name is Mike Montero, owner and landowner in Kings County and a dairy operator. I'm here today to say that it's the current plan where the rail's coming through on the west side of the 43 splits my dairy operation and my maintenance shop. It's a huge detriment to our operation. Our operation includes three dairies, 2 other older dairies, and this business plan that we currently have is 60 years in the making, and it's a huge detriment. Just the construction period will be hugely detrimental to us because of the transferring of equipment, feed, cow manure across these lines where this rail is going to go. It splits the cows in half. Also, there'll be cows on one side and half the cows on the other side, and it's going to be a big problem for us. I don't believe that a proper EIR has been done because no one from High Speed Rail has contacted us to ask me what the effects are going to be to my business. And also, it's problematic for me that it doesn't appear this board is willing to work with our local Farm Bureau representative. We need this smooth operation and efficient operation of our business to be able to survive. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Matos, and then Laura Crawford.
Good morning. My name is Tony Mattis. I dairy farm in Hanford. This rail going through my property is destroying everything I've been working for all my life there. It just doesn't make no sense. It's got too many curves swirling through all the dairies. It just doesn't make no sense to me why it's going around all these dairies like this when they can make a straighter cut to go straighter or use the highways, go to the 99 or 5 other plans. It doesn't, it just doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. You know, it's going to ruin a lot of farmland and hurt a lot of farmers and cost us a lot more money to do everything we do around there. Having to go around 2-3 miles around every time. Mm-hmm. You know, every time you got to do anything around the farm, you got to go around it. Mm-hmm. And a 5-minute job will take you, you know, half an hour. So that's a real inconvenience for us there. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Crawford, and then Ms. Leal.
My name is Laura Crawford. I'm a real estate agent. I own my own real estate business. I service Los Angeles, San Diego, Kings, Tulare, and Kern counties. I have to agree with the comments from the people of Kings County. And to go off what the people from Merced and Bakersfield said, I agree that this is a great opportunity to bring economic development to the area. However, the way you're doing it through Kings County, you're going to ruin the only viable industry that has kept these communities alive. So I appreciate if you would issue an apology to Diana Peck at the Kings County Farm Bureau. I'd also like for you to address the issue of your people that represent you coming to Kings County and then turning around and telling you in this meeting that they are working with us, agriculture is satisfied, when that is absolutely not the case. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Leal, and then Ms. Oliveira.
Californians said yes to I'm going to call it HSR to save time, on an existing corridor such as 99 or I-5. The people did not vote to perish a community such as Kings County. I've been told that you've had 300 meetings over 4 years with Central Valley to educate the public on HSR. What the public gets from these meetings, if they can get off work, are maps on a table with rail officials saying a lot of I don't know to questions, and also when asked, well, how do I make a living after the rail goes in, I was told, go buy more land or go get another house. Where? Thank you for that one-time compensation, but how does the Central Valley continue to provide for our families without homes or a way of life if you kill the economic base of a county? I'm here to tell you that on May 18th, I went to an HSR forum at Kate Carson School in Hanford and found out not only is the HSR cutting into our farmland, but there will also be a massive heavy maintenance facility in our field. I could not get answers on how big it would be, how much noise, or how many trains would be going through there to be fixed. I found no one there that could answer any of my questions. To find out how big it will be, I will have to go to the County Planning Commission in town. Mr. Abercrombie stated that the Valley in the supplemental analysis report on May 5th that 113 miles of alignment modifications and problems have been fixed, and that the Central Valley was talked to extensively. I am here to state this is false. Coordination is not happening with the community, and in the law of the proposition, it states HSR will stay informed of all local conflicts and fix them, yet you ignore and lie to us. My recommendation is that I am here to ask that you move this alignment to 99 to save my community. There is no reduced impacts for us. A proper study given to the public that shows the analysis between the loss of ag land in Kings County and the loss of ag land on I-5 or 99. Hold the insurance of further state bonds until the project's accounting is available to stop ignoring the community, and coordinate meetings, almost done, where the public has an open forum to state their concerns and issues. Stop the PR blitz and try to get everyone on board before you hear there is opposition, and talk to the counties that are really interested in having HSR in their communities, such as Visalia. I ask for a vote from the legislature to propose HSR and investigate the I-5 billions that are not being handled properly. This project, due to the size and the level of debt that it will result, should not be politics as usual. Shame on you.
Ms. Oliveira, Mr. Machado.
Mr. Pringle, gentlemen, my name is Elsie Rosa Oliveira. With my family, we own the north half of the southeast quarter of Section 29, Township 17, Range 22 East, and the address is 3504 8th Avenue. This 80-acre parcel of land was purchased by my father in 1928. It was rich virgin soil. It is located only approximately 1/8 of a mile from the Kings River. Therefore, it is rich, productive alluvial soil. For over 83 years, my family has farmed this land. We have leveled it. We have improved and nourished this land to make it some of the most productive land in Kings County. We have been good stewards to our land. This land is only one of a few parcels of land in Kings County that has remained under the ownership of one family for over 83 years. Speaking for my family, we love this land. We feel betrayed by what you plan to do to it. Adjacent and immediately in the vicinity of this land are other family lands which your map indicates you plan to desecrate in the same manner. What a waste of productive Kings County lands. You have no concept of the value to human life of productive land, and once it's gone, it cannot be replaced. I'm listed on the assessor's roll as the owner of this land, and every year I receive the tax bill. So my address is a matter of public record. To date, I have not received notice from you that you plan to plunder a 100-foot swath of land somewhat diagonally across this productive land. Your maps indicate this course, but I do not consider this proper notice. Are you going to mail us a notice? Or arrive at our doorstep the day before the expiration of any possible right to object? In the business world, this is felt to be insulting, inconsiderate, and arrogant. We are told that you will make us whole. What does this mean? Will you arbitrarily determine what our land is worth and offer us the very lowest value? The state of California is in deep financial trouble. I feel we will be told, we cannot afford to pay you more, but we will take your land. After all, the people of the state of California and President Obama have mandated that the toot-toot must be built, and we have determined that Kings County is the area of least resistance, and the landowners do not need to be considered. In closing, I would like to say, God save our homes, and God save our Kings County lands and the state of California. But most of all, God save America, because when our food-producing lands are gone, they cannot be replaced. And us Americans will be forced to eat food produced in other countries that do not have the environmental and quality control of foods grown here in your California. By this time, it will be too late, and foolish people, possibly you, will wonder what happened at the grocery store. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Machado and Mr. Fagundes.
Thank you, Chairman Pringle, members of the board. It's so nice to hear the municipalities want this. It seems like it's a real worthwhile project. But the bill as it was drawn, or the bond as it was drawn, it was through existing corridors and where population centers are. I am a dairyman from Kings County, about 3-4 miles from the previous gentleman that have spoken. We knew of our alignment through our farms about 3 weeks ago. I have the map that I had to go to the County Planning Commission to find this map. It's disastrous. It's almost criminal just to take a satellite picture and go through our farms. The mitigation that you're dealing with dairy farms is not the same as open ground. 80% of my property will be on the other side of the tracks. It'll be a 10-mile loop for me to get to the other side of my property. That would put me out of business. I am supposedly proposed on my map to put a transformer station 75 feet away from my animals. Your engineers have no concept of the hypersensitivity of dairy cattle to electricity and various other mitigation rules that they don't even have a clue. You question them, and they shrug their shoulders like, we don't know. In that 3-4 mile wide, or 3 mile, in my situation, it's a mile long. It is not even the land that I have to forfeit. It's just the wrecking of my business, of infrastructure that took years and years to develop to satisfy air boards, to satisfy the California, Water Quality Board. It's just, we're probably one of the most scrutinized environmental safety, operators. This is $100 million worth of destruction in a 3-4 mile area. So I urge you to study other thoroughfares as the 99 and the I-5, because it is criminal to go through such productive farm ground to such hardworking people.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fagundes, and then Mr. Stuber.
Good morning, gentlemen. I am here to ask also, where are the studies that show the proper EIR-EIS study on other routes was performed? As a resident of Kings County, I also demand that you work with the Kings County Board of Supervisors. You must be aware of their concerns if you have read the packet given to you here in these chambers by Diana Peck with Kings County Farm Bureau at the May 5th meeting. As a stakeholder, I am here to state that when the HSR representatives that report to you say that they have contacted everyone that is affected by the route planned for the Central Valley section, I say not true. A lot of us found out through the back door that we would be directly in the path of this project. We took this step to get involved, to get informed. I repeat, we made the first contact. That was in my case, January of 11, with a call to the URS, we were told that we're doing the path planning. From day one, we have not had most of our questions answered that were presented to Mr. Bart Bond on that day in January. No one has made contact with us on their own, even after we asked for questions over and over. My address, I have signed papers every time we've gone to a meeting. I am in the path, and I still get postcards that say resident. If you're going to take my house, at least know my name. Jerry Fagundes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Stuber and then Mr. Scott.
Mr. Pringle, Board. I'm also a landowner in Kings County. This is the latest route we just heard of. There is the third one. One went east of my property, one went west of the property. This one goes right through the middle. And there's half of my property will be left without access. And I don't know if you guys realize how your representatives have been treating us down there, but we got a letter requesting access to our property for survey. I did not return it. It meant no, and all of a sudden there's somebody out there putting big X's on my land, and now all of a sudden I hear that they're going to cut it right in half. And I just wonder how you can justify entering private property without permission, and how you're going to compensate us if we have to drive. I don't even have access to that back land. It goes, and also it's through I don't think they were even aware that it was through a floodplain right there. And so there's a lot of restrictions on what you can build in the floodplain. And so it just looks to me like it hasn't been managed properly, and that scares me. The sign I saw says, "Looks like a train, smells like pork," and that's just about what it looks like to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott, and then Ms. Stout.
Good morning, Chairman Pringle, members of the board.
Hello.
I have prepared comments, and now I'm going to change them. I am a citizen of Kings County since 1974. I am not in agriculture. However, I have a number of friends, close and dear friends in agriculture. I'm new to this because I read your proposition when it was first put before the voters, and an assumption was made on my part that things would be done a lot differently. Obviously, it has not happened. I'm a little bit distressed. And one of the things that bothers me is last night I pulled up Proposition 1A, the full text report, and I read from physical impact of the legislative analysis, state cost of $19.4 billion, assuming 30 years to pay both principal and interest of cost of bonds. Payments would average about $647 million per year. When constructed, comma, unknown operation and maintenance costs, comma, probably over $1 billion annually, semicolon, at least partially, comma, and potentially fully offsetted, comma, by the passenger fares. Bottom line is, there's no report, nowhere I've looked, and I've extensively looked since the meeting on the 18th of May, to find definitive information that says this is a profit-making organization. It's going to pay for itself. It's going to mitigate all of the issues that have been brought forth to this board. And in fact, I was served on the RJI in Fresno for 5 years in the logistics committee. And the bottom line is there was talk then to increase 99 to get increased logistics traffic going because that would bring revenue into the state. Now that's changed, and when I understood this proposition, it was going to go down either I-5 or 99. Now I find it's going to go right through, and when I go to the grocery store tomorrow and buy something that I have to either buy from some other country or because someone stayed in business with your train goes right through their property, it now costs me 20 times more. And I exaggerate a little bit because you folks have exaggerated in your proposal. I ask for all of the questions that have been put forth to you be answered. I also ask that Ms. Peck get an apology letter because I saw the video, and having served on boards for 14 years, I am disgusted with what happened on that day. It's unacceptable, and there needs to be ethical standards brought forth to this board now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stout and Mr. Browning.
Mr. Pringle and board. My name is Karen Stout, and I'm a farmer from the Layton area. That's 10 miles south of Selma and 10 miles north of Hanford. I have two 40-acre parcels with walnut groves on them, and both of them will be dissected. I only found out this week that, and actually from a neighbor, that this proposed route was the new proposed route now. And I don't know when or why, I don't know why I wasn't contacted about this. So one of my questions is, are you going to pay me for a second pipeline system to go through and get the last part of my trees? And how many trees am I going to have to sacrifice? And what kind of production, I don't know, that I'm going to get on this piece of property any longer. As your report stated in your September 2010 report, it said that this proposed route that we're speaking of through Kings County is the most destructive for the utilities. So, I don't know, my question to you is, why are we picking the most destructive route? I expect you to work with Kings County with your planning, and the county has wanted and asked for dialogue with you, and it has not happened. Do you plan to work with Kings County? There are other transportation corridors to study, and we are looking to see how can we take these studies and compare them to the route that you're using now. We want to be able to see that you are using the most non-destructive route. With the great expense going to this project, the state of California and the federal government can't even afford this project. But then again, you're not taking time. This is supposed to be a longevity type. It's supposed to be lasting for quite a long time. And you're not taking the time. You're moving too quickly, and we don't have the reports necessary to make wise decisions.
Thank you, Ms. Stout. Mr. Browning, Mr. Oliveira.
Good morning. Before I start, I would like to request something. Mr. Chairman and the gentleman over here, Van Ark, you made a statement. You were answering something earlier on, and I couldn't hear a word that you guys were saying. I mean, it was kind of mumbled. So I'd like to request that whoever does the transcript of what takes place here, just send me those two pieces of information, because I couldn't hear what you said. So you have my name, and I'll give you my name, and you have my address on the...
We have that, Mr. Browning. Yes, sir.
Got everything. Very good.
Thank you.
I'm Ross Browning. I own property, and I'm a proud resident of Kings County. And for the record, I have never received nor gotten notice of public meetings regarding the high-speed rail activities in my area. Nothing. I first became aware of the high-speed rail and the Kings County involvement activities by way of an announcement in the local newspaper of an information meeting of the Hanford High-Speed Rail Group and the High-Speed Rail Authority. I came away from that meeting a little bit discomforted. I didn't get any good, warm, fuzzy feelings, and I'm hoping to get some as a result of this. I cannot find any reference to an engineering or economic comparison of alternative routings that were considered by the High-Speed Rail Authority, nor a comparison of these routes as required by EIR and EIS protocols. I challenge this board to provide this data. I would like to see it, along with others. And I'm sorry if I'm boring you people. You know who you are. I further challenge this board to work with my elected and appointed officials in Kings County, and in particular to address the items uncovered by the coordination process as presented to this board in a previous meeting. It hasn't happened yet. It's about time that you guys got going. I would like to also call the board's attention to some statements presented to the board and subsequently approved by this board, such as statements in meetings that meetings in Kings County have been resolved and any concerns that the public may have had have been allayed. This is simply not true. the loss of disruption of public services, and the economic impulse, long-term economic impact of these changes, such as not limited to emergency medical services, fire, police, school, busing, everyday living, and the everyday efficient running of businesses that this is going to disrupt in Kings County.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Oliveira.
Hello. I've been here before. I was here last month. That's the first time I've spoken before you. I have some clarification to make. You had an opportunity to clarify that this wasn't the chosen route, that this is an analysis phase, and that a chosen route would be done later. This is a chosen route through Kings County. There are no other options when it enters the county. Okay, it's misleading to tell people that this isn't the route. Out of the routes that have been chosen, there were 3 alignments, as I understand, but they're all within Kings County. Your report, not my report, your report from last year says the route that you folks have chosen, and you've refined a little bit, is the most damaging route to Kings County. So you've picked the most damaging route through Kings County because you had no other options. What people here are telling you is if you're going to seize our property, which the decision on May 5th to proceed sets in motion because there are no other alternatives being studied, if you're going to seize our property, we require you to provide us evidence that this is the least damaging route that you can take. We believe that you folks have not studied that you cannot come up with that information. I am asking you now, provide me that information. Everybody who showed up here have busy days. They have busy lives. Just like Mr. Pringle, you told us last month. You're busy. We're busy. You said these people didn't exist. You told the Farm Bureau rep that. She was there representing us. You made hay with her. Okay, that is unacceptable. She was speaking for us. So we came here to tell you that what was reported to you by your staff, and we told you this that day before you made that decision, was a lie, not a misrepresentation, not a misinterpretation. It's not a matter of his suit is gray and his suit is kind of black. Okay, and we have a difference of opinion. Problems have not been resolved in Kings County. It was reported problems have been resolved in Kings County. Kings County has been trying to work with the Kings County government for months. It was reported last month that Kings County was satisfied, that the cities were satisfied in agenda item number 8, in a brilliantly done PowerPoint. It was very professionally done, but it lied. So when you folks tell us you're going to make us whole, when you tell us you're not going to seize our property, when you tell us this decision isn't made, we can't believe you. So we're mad. We're not just mad, we're going to hold you accountable. Mr. Pringle, based on your conduct last month, as a representative of the state of California, I'm asking you to resign. This is ridiculous. The last thing you told me last month was somebody from your board, not your board, your authority, your operation, would call me about being thrown out of a meeting. You gave your staff a direction to call me to resolve that. I have tried to contact Mr. Van Ark. I sent you an email. I left you a voicemail over a month ago. I came to this meeting because to address this, Abercrombie threw me out of a meeting. I attempted to resolve it with Abercrombie's boss. He didn't react. I came to you. Doesn't the CEO respond to you? You gave a direction to your staff to contact me. They did not contact me. This is ridiculous. Okay, what kind of operation are you running? The legislative analyst report says that you folks are mismanaged. Okay, that you're not spending things wisely, that you've chosen poor routes, that you're not using science based on this. And you can't even get your staff to give me a phone call. So, all of that said, what are you guys going to do? Are you going to provide us with information so we can feel good about you going through the economic breadbasket of Kings County, and you destroying these people's lives. And really, they don't matter. And I'm going to take heat for that, because you're going to destroy people's lives up and down the state anyway. But what we're saying is that we don't matter, but you don't have to be here. You don't need to be there. You weren't supposed to be there, and you haven't studied anything else to go around it. So this is just a decision. So, all
thank you very much.
Well, am I going to get an answer? Is somebody going to give me a phone call? Do I get to meet with you regarding this getting thrown out of a meeting thing? Do I get to meet with somebody, or am I just going to get excused? Am I going to get some sort of response? Well, because you're the top of the pile.
Yeah, and thank you for your comments.
Well, I don't think you thanked me. I mean, you thank me, but you're not giving me any feedback.
You have 2 minutes to express yourself. Everybody heard here, and I'm not going to get in an argument with you or anybody else at that podium or up here. So we have 22 additional speakers that would also like to be heard, and we're going to let them speak as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Goodwells and Mr. Paul Guerrero.
David Wells, Post Office Box 1733, Fresno, California, 93718. 93717. Before you, I've submitted as evidence some unique photographs that you will see involving reality. You won't understand what this photograph is about until I explain to you that that is an anchor bolt in a base plate of a viaduct of Chicago Transportation Authority's light rail. And that is a recent photograph, and is not just one single bolt. That is a bolt in many, many different overpasses, viaducts, and supports for the Chicago light rail. As you know, steel on steel, rolling on steel is one of the most efficient economic ways to transport passengers and freight. I'm not against rail, I'm not against light rail, and I'm not against high-speed rail. What I am against is the fantasy land that we're dealing with when we're laying off cops and firemen and teachers in this state, and have factual evidence that you have been submitted right now of how the maintenance support is taking place of the Chicago Transit Authority's system, which, as you know, most public transit, mass transit, is funded majoritively by the federal government. Now, if the Chicago Transit Authority and the Illinois state government and the federal government cannot operate and maintain the facility any better than what they are now, how do you expect to take a limited amount of money that this state has in the financially economic broke state it is and turn it into something that actually is functional? This is evidence. This is not dreamland that you have been submitted for your consideration, and will go on the legal record as such.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Guerrero, Ms. Lacombe.
Good morning. My name is Paul Guerrero. I wasn't going to speak on this, but I'm going to put this thought out there. I've heard a lot of misinformation today. An environmental impact report in EIR deals with bugs. It does not deal with people. When you get federal dollars, and you're getting federal dollars to spend on this project, Title VI mandates that you do an environmental justice study. And that includes the impact that you have on people, and it requires that that study be done at the conception of the project, not way down the road after you've picked the route. If these people here got together and brought this before a federal court, you'd be out of business. So I suggest that you get down to business and do an environmental justice study and involve the people in that study like you're supposed to. What I really want to talk on, and it'll only take a minute, is I go to a lot of small business meetings and so forth, and you have representatives come and tell us about how great you're doing, and we ask the same questions over and over again, and nobody seems to know the answer. Okay? And those questions are just twofold. How many dollars have you spent to date, and how many dollars of that has gone to small business? We're told we don't know, we haven't spent any, and none has gone to small business, and we know that's not true. So we'd like the next time you send someone out to speak to small business, you have some information that they can tell us how much they've spent with us. Thank you.
Very good. I do know that, in fact, we do know how much money of all contracts has gone to small business. So if let's ensure that Mr. Guerrero gets that information provided to him.
Mr. Chairman, these reports are registered on an annual basis and have been done so, I think, for the last 5 or 6 years for the authority. So the data is available if you want it.
Yes. We'll make sure.
Tell Mr. Barker, so when he comes to the next meeting, then we ask him that question.
Mr. Barker, when you go to the next meeting, take this